so they didn't have a box available for us for, April's bulky waste site. So I talked to Amanda, and she is going to make sure that they have one available for us, or do everything in her power to have one available for us October and April moving forward. So if they have to, whatever they have to do, she's gonna reserve one for us so that we will have one during those months when there is no brush accepted at the bulky waste site.
Cool.
So,
Way to go.
That's the same thing she told me.
yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you, Nick. That was some good leadership right there, let me tell you. I wanna say thanks to Mike for giving me a tour of the fire hall and for answering my fire-related questions. That was very interesting, so thank you, sir.
Yep.
That's all I have, sir.
I would like some clarification on this subdivision. So I know I'm not gonna be super popular for bringing this up. So if I am understanding this correctly, planning and zoning makes the recommendations, and the council says, those seem like recommendations, let's decide when we have the public hearing. Is that correct, or am I missing a step?
Well, you're supposed to have them done by the time you have the public meeting, yes.
Right, so I get that there's still this boundary line
all.
dispute between Kathy and Jim. Does that need to, can that just be resolved by then?
Well, it should be, but I don't know, because maybe you can explain what happened that when you were going to switch the land and why you didn't switch the land and.
That is why we did not switch the land, is because the boundary, which, what has happened in the past, and then by all the, one of the reasons why the map wasn't done all the way, was because Terry was getting all these easements that, when Dick and you and I were here, and Dick said that the easements didn't need to be put on that map, and you agreed to it, and you said, no, you don't remember, that was in January. Anyway, then he had to go put all the easements on it of all the water lines and any other utilities we had. By all those lines, what are not correct on your guys' map, because we went out, measured everything, found out where they were, but we still put the easements on there just by what easements were already signed by. The water lines, TDS, and all the other easements are on my property. Even though that Kathy said that they are on hers, they are not. And the reason is because where the lines actually are supposed to be, they're supposed to be 5 feet on the inside of my property line, which they are. There was also some other things that happened previously, and it's not up to me to say it, but all those lines are on my property.
So how is the city supposed to decide if this is, this is met? I mean, because we're not surveyors and we're not, you know,
Well, there are other
attorneys.
things and problems with the map.
See, everybody calls me to say, why isn't this going
I know.
forward? Jim calls me, and Matt Anderson calls me, and everybody else calls me, and I don't know what to tell them.
Well, this
Thank you
says
for bringing it up.
that an agreement in writing will be needed for the planning and zoning to recommend it.
Well, we understood it to be an agreement in writing. That's what was proposed. But now, what he's saying now is that they have new information that his deed supersedes all other deeds.
Well, then,
So did Kathy know
So-
that prior to coming in here, that you have that information?
That's what we tried to say, and everything got stopped, and that's how come I said, I raised my hand, but everybody's just
So,
exited.
I have a question,
Before the meeting.
so you didn't have time to tell Kathy, it came up just like right before the meeting, or?
All this, so this map, I emailed everybody. I didn't realize I was supposed to email Kathy, but I did email Wendy, I emailed,
Well, I think what he's
I didn't
asking,
get it.
no, I
when
did
did you
not.
get the information about the senior deed?
Sunday is when I knew about it.
And I haven't got it yet.
so everything, all the, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
All the, everything should be met, and there should be a agreement in writing before this even goes to Wendy and we set a date.
But I
Because
can't
nothing-
make somebody sign an agreement if they don't agree.
That's
I know, but
why,
we
when,
can't-
when all
they
the
can't
argument
do
was,
that.
when the argument was going on, and somebody was in the background vocalizing things and doesn't calm down, that's why we said, enough is enough. And you're right, maybe at that point we could have said, calm down, be quiet, sit down, or whatever. But if it's not gonna be resolved prior to coming in here, there's nothing we can do until you guys have that worked out. If she didn't know that information prior to, that would've been nice, and maybe she would've been a little bit different.
But at the same time, what she's saying is, she said she had,
I honestly couldn't even hear
Okay,
a word
okay.
she said.
I understand.
And it needs to be in writing.
And we can't
Planning and
force her
zoning
to do it.
recommend it.
Mm-mm.
For planning and zoning to recommend it, it needs to be in writing, that's what this says.
Because as far as I know, as we're all in agreement, we want to move forward just as much as you do, because it's to the point it is absolutely ridiculous. And, people need to move on with their lives.
Yeah, it is done. And this map needs to be accurate, because if I could go up there and find it out the easements and find that the city water one was vacated, the old one and the new one, you should have been able to do, Terry.
Terry, is that the map that you were saying at the beginning, is the one that you
And
have?
that's where I got the numbers from, that I traced down, and I put in on the county website, and you just put it in there, and you find all the easements, and you find that it's been repealed. And-
So there's
I
too
mean,
many
you're on the
easements.
survey, you should be.
Sometimes
You
there's
know,
not enough easement.
I went to the planning and zoning meetings, every one of them, and you guys did not follow instructions the whole time, is the reality. I want you to follow instructions, because I like those people, and I want them to go up there, I want them to live up there, but you guys have got to follow instructions, and you're not doing it. So how many times do we gotta hear the same story? Until you come in with what's required of you, what can we do?
We did. You had that checklist, we did every one of them.
No, you didn't.
What road is
Agreement
there?
in writing.
Surveyor's
It's what it
notes
says.
here.
For
We
planning
told
and
you.
zoning to
Wait a
recommend,
second, he's
agreement
talking
in
here.
writing. The planning and zoning said we can recommend agreement in writing, it's a condition.
Did you have anything else, Wendy?
I just wanna know what needs to be done so that when everybody calls me and is angry, that I can.
We said it's a work in progress, because we've got the surveyor's notes, we specified the three of them. He told us they were surveyor's notes and that they would be removed, there's no problem.
So my question a minute ago to Terry, when you first started talking earlier, you mentioned that that map, or the ones that we have, are not the correct ones that you said that you had amended and made all the changes to. The one that Cynthia has, is that the correct one?
That's one I got from Wendy.
Well, I understand that, but I wanted to make sure that the one that you have in your hand is correct, the one that you were complaining about and saying that there's issues with. Okay.
So
I
that
just like
list is right?
a checklist of
It's
what
not
you guys need.
What?
We've proven out title, strike that thing out, red, whatever we gotta do, Jim and I are more than happy to prove it out.
That's
Well,
what you
that's
said
something you've
back in
got to do
April
with planning and
19th.
zoning before coming, and Wendy gets put on the spot every damn day, and it's not fair to her, because she has no idea what is going on with planning and zoning, and she's tasked to do a lot of stuff. And I think everything should be, finalized between you guys before Wendy gets in the middle of it, or before you guys put Wendy in the middle of it. Because it seems like Wendy's job is to make sure that everything was met, and then set a public hearing.
Right, and
That's
it should
it.
have been, it should have been complete before it got brought to us.
Well, yeah,
And I have a question actually for Wendy, if new information came up Sunday, does that even meet the statutory requirement of all the information being on the agenda 48 hours prior?
I had the agenda it was on the agenda to read the letter and set the date of the public hearing. I didn't have like a list of requirements, because that was what I was informed, that's how I had to do it. So if I'm not doing it right, then I also need to.
That's not even what
Need to know
I'm
if that's
what I'm
wrong.
alluding to is that new information may have not even been able to be added.
I didn't know anything about any new information, or
Exactly.
old information.
If the city didn't know, I mean, you guys showed up with new information.
I didn't have the maps until today.
I'm not sure would have even been, met the 48-hour requirement to be on.
So we can't set a date until everything is 100%, so. Anyway, that's been tabled.
Let's move on.
Okay, I got nothing, except I'm leaving and there won't be a June meeting.
Thank you.
Vacation.
I'm going to Minnesota.
Mike?
I'm good, we're good, we have nothing but
Oh,
mosquitoes.
just, sorry, you've talked so much, I totally.
First of all, I want to publicly acknowledge Polly Taylor Denner and thank her on camera for the work that she's been doing at the park this spring. She has bent over backwards, and it is amazing.
Yes.
Secondly, I want to thank you for approving the sewer camera. It is gonna be amazing, and even Jim offered to help me run it, like he does that for his job. And I know Jake is competent too. And the last thing is, I don't know if we brought this up before, Josh and I, but the government passed a law that a survey of every water line in town has to be done. And done by 2024. So what that means is main line to meter to service line to house, and also the inside of the house. So this is a huge, huge project.
And only until 2024?
2024.
Yep.
So how we know is a company
updates
called
too.
us, that does this, and they kind of gave us a little bit of a sales pitch. But the thing of it is, I already started the spreadsheet. I already have 13 homes on it. Because Josh and I have been digging, we know exactly what Jim's line's made of. We know what Carl Carter's line's made of. So we're adding as we go, but what I'm saying is, resource-wise, down the line, this could become
Well, I
a problem.
So it needs to be addressed in the budget then?
Yeah,
That's
so
the only reason I know.
what it means is, if we don't have it identified, if it comes back as unidentified, then it becomes instant lead, and it has to be replaced.
You
So I
don't
have
want lines, you want material.
What's that?
You don't want like a map, you want materials.
Well, we just need time and,
No,
oh,
you want what the pipe is made
Oh,
of,
right,
not
but-
where it is.
we need the size, and we need what it's made out of. And we need to know if it's lead solder that people use on copper. And so, but a lot of that information is in our engineering for the water system. That, a lot of it, we've probably got maybe 60% of
Yeah.
our
And
stuff.
so isn't that camera gonna help you out a lot?
Well, we can't
No,
use
not
the
in water.
Okay,
So
because
you
it
have
has
to
to
go
Right,
into
we-
the people's
but
house
at
and
least
know where
we-
it comes
We're
in
gonna
your
have to talk
house.
to every single person in town.
And what if your house was built in 1954 and you have no idea what it's made of?
Chances are pretty good it's galvanized.
We'll have to look, where it comes in the basement or in the crawl space. and see where-
I've already enclosed my walls,
I mean,
so I mean, I have a little hole. You're welcome, I mean, I'm just wondering, like, for people who have.
We got a hooligan, they can make a bigger hole.
We just have to know what it is. And we don't have to know every single one of them by 2024, we have to have a comprehensive list.
Ah.
And if there is unknowns, which are acceptable, because we may not be able to talk to every single person, there will be, time to get that done. But it's the new lead and copper.
yeah.
Do you suspect there are places with lead?
Well,
There's a couple.
there's a couple houses that have a little bit of lead, like Vicky's, but
That's why your water tastes so good.
she doesn't actually have lead.
That's why she's coughing.
No, I got lead in my water. It's just in the soldering,
Yeah.
that's all. It's
She
not-
doesn't have
she has
lead
no
service or nothing like
And
that.
I would be surprised if there's actually any lead in Juliaetta. I haven't run across one since I
Yeah.
worked here.
Well,
But anyway, that's all I want to say. That's coming down my.
Make a motion.
Make a motion to move to executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-206 subsection 1A.
We can boot it out.
I second.
little cheaper.